feel like that. I've always been that guy.
Bro, we were geeking out, man. It was over how good this run is, especially the shredder.
Yo, what's happening, people? Welcome back to the Brothers Geek Out channel, and this is a special Geek Out session with my brother Yusuf, aka YK2K Illustrations. So you can check him out on his social media, his YouTube, all that sort of stuff. Bro, how you doing, man? Long time. Like we haven't spoke. I know you spoke to Kibler before, so you're not new to this channel. You're old. You've been here before. But we haven't spoke. We've spoken a little bit through Instagram or whatnot. How you doing, man? It's good to finally meet you and speak to you in person.
Yeah, well, yo, bro, long time no see. Well, technically, it's the first time meeting us in person, face to face. But yeah, bro, I would like to say I'm a veteran of the page. I am a humble fan for you and Kibler. Love you guys. I'm actually wearing. I'm annoyed because the camera didn't get the shirt on.
Awesome.
So I came prepared. I came costume ready.
That's amazing.
But yeah, bro, I'm doing well, man. Like a big fan of the channel, of course. So I'm doing well. How are you?
Thank you, man. Well, look, thanks for your support as always, and it's great to have you on, man, and geek out. I mean, we're gonna geek out about everything because you're into all the stuff that we're into. But one thing that you're interested in, that I'm interested in, is martial arts, which is where we started kind of talking and whatnot. So we get into it. But I've been good, alhamdulillah, bro. I'm just just getting through the week, just surviving in Dubai. Just you probably heard of the podcast, my usual Dubai stories and whatnot. But yeah, just getting through it, bro. It's all good.
Yeah, bro. Like honestly, like it's really cool because I don't know if you guys deeped it, but from my perspective, watching you guys on a weekly basis, it's kind of like keeping up with keeping up with the Ahmeds, if you get me. You're kind of, it's basically like a video journal of like your guys' day-to-day weeks and lives. So it's kind of interesting and entertaining and like humbling seeing you guys like talk about like your lives, as well as like geeking out about pop culture, nerdy stuff, video games, anime, movies, martial arts, of course, and so on. But yeah.
Yeah, no, you know what? It's crazy because it kind of evolved into that. Because first it started off with just, none of our personals. I mean, we don't get too personal, but we talk about our lives. It didn't start off that way. But I think as we got comfortable, talking and expressing ourselves, it became that. And, we always speak about this, like our grandparents and whatnot. Like, I wish I stuck a camera in front of my granddad and like, just let him talk about his stories of growing up in Bangladesh and coming to the UK, building World War II, all that sort of stuff. And we didn't have that opportunity. And we want to do that with our parents now. But this is kind of like me and Kibbs doing that for our future, for example. And this is like a video journal. It's like we're going like, that's why we're more comfortable talking about our day-to-days and whatnot. And it makes it personal. I mean, like the podcast is great. We do it. We have like a structure of news and whatever we find, but it's more about like just catching up and just seeing what two ordinary dudes are up to. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of produced to what it is now.
Yeah, honestly, it's very, very humbling. I think what most podcasts do is that they, like as you said, just fix on one topic. But I think with you guys specifically, it's very grounded, and you guys seem very, very genuine when you talk about like certain topics, whether that be life stuff or movies and like your thoughts on movies and other topics. So it's something I found very, very unique, especially me. Like YouTube's like my main source of like social media income. So I like listening to podcasts a lot. But yeah, it's really cool what you guys do. Keep it up, honestly.
Man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Look, one of my biggest inspirations is Joe Rogan, who's like the king of podcasts, and all of his is conversations. It's not, yes, he has people that talk about specific topics, but he's having conversations with people, and that's what even with this session that we're going to do now, I just want to talk to the brother. Let's talk. Like, you threw some interesting questions out there, and it's like, oh, we're not going to be like this specific, man. We talk about whatever we want. Let's catch up about life. And then, yeah, we'll talk about the martial arts. But yourself, though, I mean, you do a lot of great stuff as well. And you put a lot of great content together. You review a lot of old school, you're into a lot of the old school cartoons and animes and stuff like that. One Piece, like it popped up on my Netflix, which I'm not familiar with, but I know you are more familiar with. And just in general, so you, again, shout outs to you. And I know you're a great artist, and you spoke to Kibler about some of the illustration work that you did as well. So it's amazing that you got this humble passion that you've kind of put together and produced your own sort of content. So well done to you, bro.
Oh, thanks, bro. Jazakallah. Yeah, like a lot of people tell me I'm like an old man. All my friends tell me because I like the old school stuff, whether that be movies, anime, like when people say what's my favorite like anime movies in general, I say Rocky, Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Akira. What's your favorite manga? Fist of the North Star's up there. No
Yes,
one talks
yes,
about
yes,
that. Like Fist of the North Star was before Dragon Ball Z. So that was like the
yes.
grandfather of action anime before Dragon Ball Z, even, and Naruto and everything. Star Wars, of course. I love like the 80s stuff's very, very underrated, like for like us Gen Zs and for that generation. I keep telling my friends, watch this stuff first. You appreciate the new stuff right now if you watch the old stuff. Ninja
Yes.
Turtles, Street Fighter. Like behind me, I have like my SNES, Sega Mega Drive. I've got a bunch of PS1 games. I'm very old school.
Nice.
Got the modern stuff here behind me, got the PS5 and stuff, but the old school stuff's the best. Um, like what's another favorite? Ninja Turtles. That's like something I always talk about to people. The 90s one in the costumes. I love it so much. But yeah, I want to say let's dive into a bit more of the martial art spectrum a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure. Because I was gonna
because since
mention
we,
that when you said Ninja Turtles, I was gonna say like because they were in costume, you had real like humans doing martial arts and whatnot within those costumes, right? I mean, the new
yeah,
ones are great. I like the Michael Bay ones. It's my opinion. I haven't seen the new one. It finally comes out in Dubai next week, but that's an animation as well. But the old ones had great martial arts in it. You know what I mean? Like, and I
yeah,
always appreciate it for that.
yeah, like they were fully produced by Golden Harvest, the same studio that made like the Bruce Lee films, the Jackie Chan
Yes.
films. They made that TMNT film, so it was really, really cool. Like the actual,
I
yeah,
didn't
bro.
know that actually. I didn't know that it
No,
was
yeah,
produced by
yeah,
them. That's sick. Okay, I thought
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like pure US made. I didn't realize Golden Harvest had an involvement in that.
No, they were like they got the stunt actors for the Ninja Turtles in the costumes. They were all like from Hong Kong, and then they would switch them out when they were doing like the dialogue and acting scenes.
Oh, wicked.
It's really, really
Okay,
interesting. Like
that's
it's really cool.
you know what you say that, and I need to watch those old ones because they really hold up. I think, especially from a costume perspective. When you think about the martial arts, like you can really see that style, like Hong Kong style of martial arts in there, with like a lot of the spinning work and the spinning kicks and all that sort of stuff. Thinking
Yeah.
about it now, shit, I need to go back and watch those, man. That's freaking awesome. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, bro. Honestly, you're gonna love it. Trust me. I think as you appreciate martial arts more, you'll appreciate the movie more.
Yes,
So
yeah, yeah,
you'll
yeah.
love it so much.
Have
Favorite
you
Ninja
seen the
Turtle?
new? Oh, mine,
Oh,
favorite. Oh man, listen. I would say Raphael, right? Just because I always like the angry guys or whatnot. I've always known to be having a temper, so I was known to be whoever had temper like the Hulk and whatnot. That was always me. So I'm gonna say Raphael. What about you?
I think growing up, he used to be Michelangelo just because like he was the cool
Yeah,
guy with the skateboard and the nunchucks were always like cool to look at. But I think as I've gotten older, I prefer Leonardo, like the cool stoic
of
leader who's
course,
always calm,
the
level-headed.
humble
The
brother.
katanas
Yes,
as well.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
That
it's
that makes
a giant
sense.
transition, a
Yeah,
giant
yeah, yeah,
transition
yeah.
from
I mean,
Mikey to
as we get
Leo.
older, we get more mature and wiser, and we appreciate those things more, right? In some
Yeah.
sense. Have you seen the new one, Mutant Mayhem?
Yes, I saw the new one.
Okay, without no spoilers, because I haven't seen it. I'm seeing it next week finally. What was your thoughts on that?
It's a very Gen Z take on the turtles, if you get me. But it's still very, very enjoyable.
Okay.
Like yeah, all the classic iconography stuff from the turtles are still there. The action is the anime, bro. If you like Spider-Verse,
Mm.
bro, it's that style of animation, but
Oh,
like more
wicked.
rough. Like the creators of that movie are clearly fans of like the original cartoons and comics. It's something you really enjoy. Like, yeah, the music as well, full on 90s hip hop.
Nice,
Um,
yes.
you're gonna love it a lot. Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
wicked. I'm looking forward to watching it next week. It finally comes out here, and I didn't get a chance to watch it in the UK. I was, so Kibla went to the screening, and he took my nephew. I was supposed to actually go, but the
right.
night before, I already planned to watch the UFC with a friend, and I was at his house all night watching the UFC, so I couldn't do it. But looking forward to watching it next week, man.
Mhm.
But with the martial arts, staying on the martial arts, man, like how long you been training for, man? What do you do? Like, what's your martial art background, man? Tell us the background of you from a martial art perspective.
I would say okay.
How
I'll
was
go
you
way way
first
back.
exposed to it and whatnot? Yeah.
I'll go way way back. So let's say okay. So as a kid, of course, growing up, the TV was my life, right? So I'm on the front of the TV. All I was watching was Ninja Turtles, of course, Power Rangers, superhero stuff. All hand choreographed martial art movies. Jackie Chan, Jet Li. So I want to say that was like the seed that kind of like kickstarted like the love for it. But to be fair, it's only been very very recently where I actually started training. So I think it was only like 2 3 years ago where I was like, let me actually start, like quote unquote start. and start training properly. So I've been doing kickboxing. That was like my first go-to martial art so far, and haven't stopped since. It's a bit of a weird one because in terms of watching, like say UFC, for example, because you guys love talking about the UFC. I am borderline casual when it comes to UFC, but I just love the training regimes and the highlights and like the interviews of it. Um, when I first started kickboxing my first year, I was like, let me actually learn about the history of the UFC. So I don't know if you're Hoist Gracie.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like whoever says who's my favorite fighter, I always go Hoist Gracie because my first UFC that I actually watched was UFC one. I went on YouTube, I put up UFC one, and like it's insane how different the first couple of UFCs are compared to what it is now. Like very like now, of course, it's very professional. Everyone's well trained and everyone's well versed in the world. It's a lot bigger. But back then, I'm not even joking. The way it's like televised, it's like a WWE match. It's like you have a boxer in boxing gear fighting a like BJJ fighter in gi, and you're like, this is something out of anime. You're like, this whoa.
100%.
And like,
then they were just trying to discover what was. I mean, look, the Gracie family had their agenda to kind of prove that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu was the ultimate martial art. Doesn't matter weight class or none of that sort of stuff. But it was that question, like what martial art is best and whatnot. And it evolved into this whole mixed martial art thing because everyone come to realize like, oh shit, I need to learn the grappling. And then it's like, well, I need to learn striking and grappling. And then, you know, all the other stuff in between. And then it's the athleticism and conditioning and all that sort of stuff as well, which came into it. So it evolved great. It's crazy that you started off with UFC one. Some people don't watch it because like, you know, people think it's more brutal. This is my opinion, right? People think it was more brutal then. And yes, there was less rules and whatnot. But if you notice, a lot of people threw in the towel a lot more. Like these days, people are not willing to throw in the towel. They're just looking to get fucked up if they're going through like, you know, bad beatings or whatnot. Back then, they were quick to throw in towels. I feel like it was less brutal back then than it was here, than it is now.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, like, yeah. I think again, it was a time where it's like there was still a big mystery on what would happen in the ring, on the octagon. So I want to say that's why, but it's just so like it's like another world going back to the first couple of years. Bro, even Joe Rogan, my guy, have you seen clips of him? I was like, that's the same guy. I was like, that's him from
him with hair is funny, man.
Yeah, bro. But it's crazy because like the way he articulates himself and speaks is the same. So like, you can tell like he's very, very knowledgeable in like the art form that he works in. So that was really, really cool. But besides Wade Gracie, I want to say, I don't know, Ken Shamrock as well. That guy was a tank. Surprisingly, I knew him before watching UFC through WWE.
Same here.
I didn't know he was
here.
like, I didn't know he was a UFC fighter. Like he had the gear on. I was like, okay, he's really cool. But like when I was watching UFC, I was like, oh, he's an actual like shoe fighter and like a champion, and like he's very well known in Japan. I was like, oh damn, he's a beast. So,
yeah, he's actually the world's. I mean, in WWF, he was like the world's dangerous man, right? And he used to like. I remember he used to scream and then get people in the ankle, like some ankle lock, which you can easily get out of, whatnot. But the same, I had no idea he was actually in the Ultimate like Fighter. He's an actual fighter and whatnot. And there's a few people. There's the name slip in my head, but I think he was in UFC 6 or something. A Russian guy who's been in a couple of movies. He was in that movie. I don't know if you remember 15 Minutes with Robert De Niro.
It rings a bell.
I mean, he was in a few other movies, but anyway, after seeing him, because I bought UFC Fight Pass and I went back and started watching all of them, and I was like, holy shit, I thought this dude was an actor. He's a fucking UFC fighter, MMA fighter. So loads of people in it. And it's just evolved. Like to the modern age now. I mean, I know you probably don't watch it as much, but is there a specific fighter that stands out for you now in the modern age?
Okay. I'll say currently. Let's go a couple of years back. I'll say GSP. He was like one of the gateway in.
One of the greatest, for sure.
Captain America Winter Soldier. I was like, wait, what? That's the guy again. I was like, I was like, oh, okay. But I want to say right now, it's probably like all the Dagestani fighters. To be fair, like again, like I'm Muslim in it, so like they're on it. They're very good, like representatives of like the religion, but like the way they train, the way they carry themselves. Khabib Nurmagomedov, his entire run, I love. Like, but I guess right now I'll probably go Islam. As like my go-to fighter right now. But I think right now, definitely like any of the Dagestani like mainstream fighters I'd pick.
It's great to have someone that we can cheer for, because I always used to love Muhammad Ali, but I wasn't alive when I followed when his career was out. But I could imagine how I mean, Khabib done it for me, but just that feeling of having someone that represents, and Muhammad Ali obviously was something huge, and what he represented, what he stood for. I can only imagine as a fan to just be like, I love everything he does, you know, from what he represents, from what he's trying to represent for his people, being Muslim, being a black man, all that sort of stuff. And I feel like Khabib done that as well from a Muslim perspective, because, you know, Muslims, the social media and all that sort of stuff has helped kind of expose Islam in a positive way, but it also, there's the media and all the bullshit that's already ingrained bullshit about Islam to certain people. But I feel like someone like Habib coming on that sort of platform and just kind of representing in a way of discipline and humility and humbleness and whatnot. Yeah, he had that incident, but put that aside. That was beef, that was fight. But he comes across, you know, very humble, and he represents us well. As I feel proud, you know what I mean? Like when he's saying, like, Alhamdulillah, I'm gonna smash your boy. Like, there's something about that. Like, so many people who I know who never watch MMA or whatnot, but they felt that, and they felt like that he's representing well. But yeah, no, that's awesome, man. What's his name? Hamzat Chimaev, who's another one. He's from Chechnya. He's training at my gym currently now. So I'm trying to get the moment to like say, what's up, salam alaikum, brother. But I don't want to disturb him while he's training, man.
Okay,
I'd love to meet that dude.
Oh yeah, that's good. Like, wait, like, how close were you towards him?
But
like,
he literally walked past me, man. We like brushed shoulders. I was trying to get eye contact to be like, salam alaikum, bro. But he was focused that he was already sweating. He was going to another area of the gym. And I'm just not that guy to be like, oh, brother, stop. Like, give me a picture, all that sort of stuff. I'm kind of like
let it happen naturally.
Yeah, let it happen naturally. I want to rather just communicate with him and just say, salam alaikum, how you doing, brother? Like, you know, something like that. But it's crazy that he is at my gym, and you know they're having the UFC Abu Dhabi, which I tried to get tickets for, and all the brothers are going to be there. But I won't. Yeah, tickets were just crazy expensive, and
damn.
Immediately. Yeah.
How's Dubai life in general?
You know what, but no place is perfect. No place is perfect, right? But Dubai has its positives for sure. But there's negatives too, you know. I mean, Dubai is a great place where everyone talks about Dubai being the future and all that sort of stuff, and it is from a visual perspective. But internally, when you're trying to sort out stuff, it's very backwards. You know, it's very backwards. It's very behind. It's still got a lot to grow in regards to the digital world and all that sort of stuff. You know, from a religious perspective, you know, it's helped me a lot. You know, I'm trying to get close to religion. I'm not saying it's been hard, but I'm going through my own journey and whatnot. Being in Dubai has helped. Yes, food is great. It's the first time I've lived in a country where everything is halal. So that's amazing. You can make money here. People always talk about the money, yes, but people don't realize, like, one, things can get expensive, and two, everyone's trying to make money, and people are trying to make money from you too. So there's a lot of money you end up spending, or, you know, kind of getting scammed out of and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, it's a hustler's place. It's not a place where you come and find yourself like fucking Bali or something like that. And excuse my language, bro. You know, I've obviously heard from the podcast, I swear too much. I'm trying to control it.
It's calm, bro.
But yeah, Dubai is not a place where you would find yourself. You know what I mean? It's a place where you come with a hustler's mentality and you hustle. So I know with that mentality, me and the missus will eventually come back to the UK just to be with family and whatnot. But it's not. You've been there before? I saw one of your videos recently where you posted one of your Dubai trips. Was that just for vacation?
Yes. Huh? I've been Dubai 3 times. 2 for vacation. The third time was I have family that live there. I have like cousins and stuff.
Okay, nice.
Oh, where are they from? Have you heard of Miradan? It's like a place in Dubai. Does that ring a bell?
Miradan? I'm not sure, bro. I'm not good with areas anyway.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah.
fair. So yeah, I went, I think it was in 2018, 2018 was the last time I went. It was just for vacation. Well, my family were there in it, so I went to see them for the first time. And it was great. Like, it was basically a vacation for the summer. So I went to the Autodrome, go-karting. I went to the malls, did some shopping. The food, great. But Abu Dhabi, we drove to I don't know if you've been to Abu Dhabi yet. Yes,
yeah. I've been there.
Yeah. Ferrari World, Warner Bros. Well, we saw like the DC stuff, the Hall of Justice. It was really, really cool. That was really, really fun. We saw the Sheikh Zayed Mosque as well, bro. The masjid is beautiful.
Yes,
we went there for Friday prayer. That was beautiful. And yeah, like that was a really fun time. Like, what else did we do? Yeah, we were just chilling, to be fair. Like,
there's so much to do here. And like, if you like, and inshallah you come again. If you do, let me know, bro. We'd love to meet you in person. Where in the UK do you live?
I'm from London.
Oh, okay. Whereabouts? Northwest.
Northwest. Yeah, Harrow.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. A blood, you're down the road, man. Shit. Okay. I was gonna say, hopefully you come to Dubai and I meet you in person, but bro, I could just get on the 259 and come meet you in Holloway. But yeah, if you ever come down here anyway, give me a shout, man. The good thing about the one thing about Dubai, like without a car, you can't really get anywhere. But with a car, the options are open, man. Like you just drive anywhere, you know what I mean? So we always trying to we're planning a trip now to one of the other states just to get out there. And then the other thing about Dubai that people don't know, which I love, is 40 minutes away, you got like a town, a little village called Hatta, which has got like mountains and stuff like that. That's my vibe. I love mountains and peaceful sort of areas. And that's 40 minutes away. You know what I mean? Dubai doesn't really promote that much because Dubai promotes all the glitz and the glamour and shit. But
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Like have you been to Sharjah before?
yeah, Sharjah as
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
like old school. Like yeah, bro. Like I love that kind of stuff. They don't promote that at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So there's more to Dubai than just the Instagrammable stuff that it keeps promoting.
Yeah.
But yeah, alhamdulillah, it's nice, man. We'll do a couple years here and then see what happens, man. But family's in London, so it's always that's the game plan to always end back there.
Okay, cool. Inshallah, bro.
Yeah, man. Well, on the martial arts, so you've been doing kickboxing for a couple years. Have you ever thought about like getting into like grappling and all that? So, or you still just kind of taking your time and seeing how that goes?
Yes. I wanted to ask you this on. I was legit gonna like message you several days before, and I was like, let me just wait. So I do want to transition from striking to grappling very, very soon, probably within the next 6 months. Because I want to compete so badly.
Okay.
I used to play football a lot, like Sunday league, and like that, I just love the sense of competition and like the vibe and like the hype that you get when like you're in a competition, people are watching you. I miss that so much. Kickboxing is a bit scary competing, I can't lie. I don't want to like get hit and stuff like that when competing. So I was like, okay, let me go into grappling. I'm in the process right now. I'm doing so much research on like what martial art of grappling do I choose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, majority of the people are telling me do wrestling because it's like everything. It's the best foundation. But for me, it's like I want to have fun as well. Wrestling just seems like crazy cardio intense.
It's
So I
hard.
was like, yeah, bro.
The grind of wrestling is hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone's like, do wrestling. And I'm like, okay, wait, chill, man. I want to have fun as well. So I'm
Yeah.
debating between BJJ and judo at the moment. I'm trying to figure out which one to do. But in the meantime,
Yeah.
I'm just doing my general training every day and stretching every day beforehand. So what would you recommend as someone who does BJJ?
Yeah. I've been
Would
doing
you?
BJJ for a while. I mean, look, judo is also amazing as well because you got to think about from a self-defense perspective, and both are great for self-defense as well, right?
Mhm.
Even though it's great to train as well, it's good to know like what you can inshallah, nothing happens on the streets, but we live in North London, things happen or whatnot. But judo is great because say it's winter time, someone tries to do something, they got a big jacket on. That's like judo, that's amazing and whatnot. You just grab that jacket and flip them whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But I would say, honestly, from my perspective, though, because judo, still you got to throw people and technique is key, don't get me wrong. But I'm a small guy. I've always been a small guy. And from my perspective, the one martial art where I've actually dominated bigger people has been Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, you probably heard it on Fight Talk, me and Curtis talk about it. I get smashed all the time. Big dudes do smash me. My spine can't take it no more. However, if when I come across someone who's not trained before, who's not as familiar in just certain techniques of jiu-jitsu, and they're like 90 kgs, which happened like 2 weeks ago, a 90 kg guy, he's done a bit of wrestling, but I'm 57 kgs, he's 90 kgs. I was able to dominate him, like as in get all ground. Like I had to just endure like 30 seconds of him just trying to overpower me. And then I just hip escaped and took his back and just tapped him out so many times. But that's the beauty of jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, because you're using the ground to take away like leverage and power from big opponent. Don't get me wrong, they can still squash me and all that sort of stuff. But it's the only martial art where I felt I've had an advantage over a bigger opponent, because striking is my base. I started off with kickboxing when we were kids, and then kung fu, and then I got into
Right.
Muay Thai and all that sort of stuff. And I'm okay with someone my size, but the moment someone's a bit bigger, I struggle. And I agree, it's getting hit is not like, I don't like it either. And I actually competed in kickboxing. I haven't competed in grappling before. I've actually competed in kickboxing back in the days. Those are the ones I did. And I'm not gonna lie, man. Like it fucking hurts, man. Getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But at the time I was young. I recover so fast or whatnot. Now I don't want to do any of that. But Look, I think what I would say, because this is what my Sifu said, my Kung Fu instructor, and because of him, I got into MMA. He would say, go try it. Go try it. And if you like it, you would do that one. If you don't like it, at least you tried it, but just try them. So I would say, try a jiu-jitsu class, try a judo class, try a couple of them. Don't just make a decision of one, and see which one you like, see which one you enjoy, see which one you feel more welcomed at as well. Because the environment means a lot as well. And feel like which one you vibe with best, what you enjoy and how you moved around and whatnot. And then you get a sense. Again, if you say, gee, you have to pick one, then I'll just say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just because of my own biases and how it's helped me and how much advantage I feel doing that. But if I was to give you advice, I would say try them. Also try Sambo. If you can find them, they're a bit more harder in the UK. But if you can find those, just try them, because you might freaking love wrestling. The grind of it is fucking hard, but you might like it and be like, I want to do wrestling. So I would suggest try and find some convenient schools around, and then just give it a try, do a couple classes, and then make a decision, you know what I mean? And transition to the one that you genuinely feel like, oh, I like this one. And then you'll do that one more.
Okay, cool. I'll take that. Thanks. Another question is like regarding, again, like finding like certain academies and places to go to. Some academies are more commercial and more watered down compared to other places. I don't want to go to a place that's like a bit like, you can tell they're just doing it for the money, if you get me.
Yeah.
Or like it's or like the main goal for that academy is just to train kids, because parents take kids, they make cash, and like the adults are kind of like in the back, and they're not really like, the training's not as serious as you'd want it to be. Has that happened with you when like you were looking for like new places to join academies and so on?
100%. And I've seen it, you know. I mean, I've been to a few, some of the best gyms, like Evolve MMA in Singapore is one of the best MMA gyms in Asia, and you got a lot of 1FC fighters there. But when you got a class full of 30, 40 people, like, you're not getting that individual technique. Like, you know, I would have my old Sifu who would tell me like, just the little things, gee, like, you need to shift your body to this angle, you need to shift your weight, little things. But when you're in one of those classes, you're not getting those little adjustments and whatnot. Not saying that saying that gym is definitely one of the best and whatnot. There was a coach there who's one of my favorite MMA coaches I've ever come across. He had a purpose for every exercise you did. Even if it was a warm-up skipping exercise, he would tell you, this is the purpose of skipping. So you know what it is, bro. You're gonna come across gyms that a lot of it do it for the money. A lot of it is just like, you know, oh yeah, we've got 40, 50 students in here, and they just kick the bag and do this. So you would rarely come across certain coaches that will take you aside or take certain people aside and just pick on your technique. Just do this a little bit, just angle yourself there. And that's what you really want to look for. Like, when you find a place, like, find a place where, one, you feel welcomed and feel comfortable there, and two, as you train, because you're only going to notice when you train there, is, does the coach, you know, pick on technique on not just you but everyone, you know what I'm trying to say? And that takes time though. You'd have to find it. You would know immediately when you walk into a place and you know, they're just drilling stuff without, you know, letting anyone know it's technique. Like, you can tell if it's like a boxer size class or whatnot. But you know, those MMA, I tell you what though, some of those gyms who are like fighting gyms or whatnot, they will take focus. The disadvantage with those sometimes is, if you're not a fighter, they might not show you interest, and that's where you feel like, oh man, I want a little bit of interest. So there's that element too. But if you show commitment, one thing I have noticed, if you show commitment and show your face, the coach would eventually, like, you build a relationship with them, and then they'll eventually start helping you, and you have confidence to ask them questions and whatnot. But it's difficult. I'm telling you, you'll come across a lot that is just do the class, and then you'll come across a certain coach that will pick on technique or give you a reason why you do any little thing. And I've rarely come across that coach that would tell you, this is why you skip, and this is why you should skip on your toes, or this is why, you know what I mean? I'm talking about from the basics, or this is how you move forward and how you move backward. And that's what I love. You know, I loved martial art classes where I wouldn't even break a sweat, because the coach is purely focusing on technique. And like the coach again in Evolve MMA, Eddie, he would break down the jab. He'll be telling people, who knows a jab cross? Who knows a jab straight? And everyone will be like, yeah, I know. He goes, all right, show me a jab straight, jab cross. A cross is when you're going across, and a straight is straight. But people don't know that. They're like, oh yeah, that's a straight. It's like, no, that's a cross. This is a straight, because straight funny. Like, even those little details, people might think it's a minor thing, but the fact that he breaks that down, because he goes, this straight can make all the difference depending on the angle of where your opponent is, or the angle you've taken. So you might be in an angle where you need to throw a cross, or you might be into an angle to throw a straight. But just something as simple as that, he would break down. And I used to love that. Like, a lot of people didn't, because they want to bust sweat, they want to hit pads, all that sort of stuff, which is not wrong. But I used to love the fact that he used to just break those minor things down. So again, it comes down to the individual as well. It depends on what you like and what you would appreciate.
Okay, interesting. Cool. I'll take that.
Just try them out, bro. Try them out. That's the best way. Just best way. But I'm glad you like. Look, I love the fact that you're training and you're looking to get into grappling. Don't stop the kickboxing. I would always recommend do the both. Like, even if you do that once a week or whatever. Of course, you got a life to live and commitment. When I was young and competing, bro, I used to train every day, and I could recover after one night's sleep and all that. So now my body just can't take it anymore, but I'm still trying to push through. So, I would recommend just keep doing it as much as possible, but focus on your recovery, do your stretching and yoga and all that sort of stuff. That will help a lot as you kind of progress in it.
Yeah. Stretching is like the thing that I try and focus on a lot more now, especially like this past year. Again, it's that thing where I'm not one to have regrets in life, to be fair. I'm not like that at all. But like, if I were to choose one thing, is that I kind of wish I started training when I was like 10, 7, 8 years old, because it's like I could be doing the splits right now. I could be like Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, and so on. So that doesn't bog me down, but I'm just saying, like, if that was one thing I'm a tad bit like annoyed at when I'm doing my stretches, it's like, oh, I wish I can just go lower. Or like a butterfly stretch. I think I posted that on my story the other time. I'm so close to like touching the ground with my knees. I'm like, if I just did this like 5 years ago, if I started 5 years ago, I could be doing it already.
Yeah.
So yeah,
well, if you think of it this way, in 5 years from now, you'll be happy that you started 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we all have those sort of things, but at least you're doing it now. Because the worst thing is of like, oh, I wish I'd done it when I was young, and then you don't do shit. And then
That's my biggest fear. That's my biggest fear in life.
Exactly, bro. Anything, right? Be it martial arts or anything. Like, if there's something you want to, you gotta do it, because 10 years from now, you're gonna like, oh, I wish I started 10 years ago, because you would have gone so far. You know what I mean? So it's important that you do it. But yeah, just keep doing it, bro. Keep doing it. Listen, man, like, even with myself, man, as I get older, I talk about this a lot. All the exercises I do now is all about longevity and whatnot. I follow a guy called Knees Over Toes in regards to knee health, and he talks about longevity exercises, and he's kind of expanded from like the legs and the knees to the shoulders and the back. And I just do those. I never go to the gym and do bench press and all that stuff anymore. I go and do literally like rotational stuff and seated good mornings and anything that, you spoke about butterfly. I do weighted butterfly. So I get 2 dumbbells and I sit in the butterfly position, put the dumbbells on my knees and allow the weight to push my leg. And then I push up again. So I'm getting like a weighted seated butterfly as well, which also helps with mobility and longevity and stuff. So, I've just moved away from the traditional, bodybuilding style of training, which if I had time, I would actually do it, because, I'm still vain. I'm still a vain guy. I do want to look good and all that sort of stuff, but I'm going to focus on longevity first before all of that stuff. When I was young, cool, young kid, insecure. Of course, I want to look good and bulky and whatnot. So I'll do all of that stuff. But the reality was, I was still always and always will be a skinny kid. And martial arts has helped me be more confident in me just being a small, skinny kid. And I'm confident with it. And I'm fine with it. I like my weight class. And martial arts has helped me to get through, overcome that insecurity and whatnot.
Oh yeah, bro. Like I feel like after like training sessions, I feel like my body can just fly and float. At some points. Like I think I was talking to the friend. It was like, I've deeped it. It's like, I don't think I can stop training in my life ever. Like, I can't go like a week without training or doing cardio or stretching. It's come to that point now. So it's just intense. Like, it's crazy when you think about it like that. And also that reminds me of like, I don't know if Bruce Lee said this. We'll get to the topic next, because I want to talk about this with you. I don't know if it's Bruce Lee who said it. It was like a Chinese proverb in general. It's like, the best time to start something new was 20 years ago, but the second best time to start something is now. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah,
So like
something
I
like
try and
that.
have
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I don't know
Yeah,
if that was Bruce Lee specific, but I think it's just one of those Chinese proverbs. But yeah,
yeah,
it's so freaking true. It's so freaking true.
yeah.
Because like I said, in 10 years' time, you're gonna, I wish I started it 10 years ago. Like, yeah, just start it now. It's great that you are training every day. I mean, look, especially coming from like a Bengali culture and whatnot, where we're not like, not in a bad way, but like we're not really athletes, right? I'm trying to say, like, we're
Yeah.
hardworking people. Me and Kips were just talking about in the podcast this week. Our people are some hardworking people. But you're Bengali, right?
I'm Pakistani.
Pakistan. Oh, my bad, my bad,
Um,
my bad. Sorry. So,
yeah,
but in general, that region,
yeah,
we're hardworking people and whatnot. But I
yeah.
wouldn't say we're known for being like the highest performance athletes. I know Pakistan, Bangladesh, and they got cricket and all that sort of stuff, but like we weren't educated, especially our elders, with like the training and just understanding our body that needs that physical training and whatnot. And
Mhm.
it's important that we have that mentality because it's not like because it helps us in the future, man. We want to be old and walk around and all that sort of stuff. So it's great that we have that mentality now. And then try and influence our loved ones, our siblings, our brothers, our fathers, all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because they're all getting old and everything. So I tell Kibble all the time, like do something, bro. Like he's trying his best. He's got some back problems at the moment, but he's trying his best to kind of do. And I'm trying to always advise him on certain exercises to do. But a lot of it happens because we don't use our bodies functionally. You know what I mean? Kibler was Kibler like back in the days, and you've probably seen some of his clips. He can still do the spinning kick and shit. Bro,
Yeah,
back in the days, he was fucking on point with his kicks. Like he used to do the Van Damme kick. You know when Van Damme does a jumping
yeah.
spinning. Bro, Kibler was able to do that, bro. That's how good
That's
Kibler was.
that's
It's just
mad.
that
Wow.
it just took a long. What happened was he just stopped for a long time, right? And of course, life catches up and whatnot. But if he just continued to do something every day, he'll still be in that, in that sort of form or whatnot.
Mhm.
But that's why it's important for us to like you said, man, like every week I have to do something. It's that discipline. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
it kind of goes back to what you were saying with like Habib and them being Muslim and whatnot. Because being Muslim is a discipline to it as well.
yeah,
Like Rogan was talking about, this is coming from a non-Muslim perspective. Like Rogan, he was like, there's a reason why them fighters are so good because they're disciplined in their religion. They call to
yeah,
prayer 5 times a day, and during Ramadan they don't eat and all this sort of stuff. There's so much discipline in Islam, and if they implement that within their fighting, of course they're gonna be some of the best in the world. You know what I mean? Like all they're thinking about is religion, family, and training, and it's all discipline and something that we can never. We should always strive to have. Is discipline. But
yeah.
discipline, I think, is one of those things that, in my opinion, that Allah has given to everyone as a form of freedom of choice. Right? We all have freedom of choice. I think discipline's a part of that, in my opinion, and everyone has it. It just depends where you channel it. Because a lot of people be like, oh, I ain't got discipline and whatnot. But I'm like, you know what? You work an office job 9 to 6, man. You go into the office. Well, you used to go into the office every day. That's a form of discipline. You know what I mean? But you choose to be disciplined towards that, but you wouldn't choose to be disciplined towards training or religion or whatever. So I think discipline is one of those things that it's a freedom of choice that we have. You have to learn how to channel it in your life towards what you want, be it religion or training or whatever it is.
Yes, yeah, I agree as well. I think the way I channel it is like I think, yeah, the way I perceive discipline is I know again everyone has their own methods of keeping themselves disciplined. For me, it's like there's a lot of goals that I want to achieve in life, and like if I don't do it now, it's not gonna happen then. So like example, I want to compete and stuff in martial arts and stuff. I need to make sure I'm eating well now. I want to like when I'm 80, I want to make sure I'm walking freely. I don't have a walking stick. I can still jump around and like do stuff. So I have to like treat myself like be disciplined now if I want to get to that point. And again, like personal projects and like life stuff and life goals, I have to work on it now for me to achieve it later down the line. That's the way I perceive it, and it's helped me so much. Like every
Yeah,
day, like when you can't be bothered to go to the gym or go for a run, even though it's cold, or like there's like a cake in the fridge or a can of Coke, you're like, I'll just grab water instead. It's
yes.
yeah, it's those little stuff like that like are the hardest but are the most
Yeah.
effective. Yeah.
One of my Brazilian jiu-jitsu coaches for when I trained in Hong Kong, that he said that's a form of self-defense as well. Like
Mhm.
you see the McDonald's or you see a salad shop. Like for you to walk into the salad shop is a form of self-defense because you're defending yourself against the bullshit that McDonald's will give you, which is, you know, tasty, pleasury food, but it's self-defense. Even just, I was talking that to my missus today, like, you know, Monday to Friday, I'm very clean with my diet, right? Especially Monday to Thursday. I shouldn't lie, actually. Monday to Thursday. Friday, I like to let loose a bit. But bro, I'm not even gonna lie. By the end of Thursday, I'm like, man, I can't wait to have a kind of Coke or something like that. But I'm like, I have to stay disciplined Monday to Thursday. And I'm being real. Eating healthy, in my opinion, is freaking depressing. However,
it's expensive as well.
It's expensive as it is, yes, yeah. It's depressing because it don't taste good and it's expensive. But I'm like, no, I gotta stay disciplined because of what you mentioned. Because years from now, all of this is like disease prevention and functionality prevention. I'm trying to prevent myself from being diseased, or, you know, I want to be 80 and run around. Like people do it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like people do it. You see loads of people out there doing it. Like they're 70, 80, they don't look it and they're walking around and all that stuff. I want to do that. I don't want to be, you know, like messed up and whatnot. And like you said, we got to do it from now. Otherwise it's too late.
Like 100%. It's
definitely, man. But you asked a question. I want to go back to Bruce Lee because we brought him up, right? And you're a fan of Bruce Lee as well. You asked a question a while back, like if he was to compete in MMA now, how would he do, right? And I gave you a quick answer through Instagram, but I thought it'd be great to talk about it because I think there's a lot to break down on that, right? The truth is, like what I was saying to you, like if you just took prime Bruce Lee then and brought him into the UFC or any MMA organization now, he would lose, right? He wouldn't do as well just because times have changed. It's like Royce Gracie, pound for pound, one of the best fighters of all time. But you put him in the MMA now in his weight class, because back then he was fighting people 500 pounds or whatnot. You put him in his weight class now, he will struggle because that martial arts has evolved. Everyone knows, you know, the jiu-jitsu, the wrestling, the Muay Thai, the kickboxing, all that sort of stuff, right? So it will be difficult for him to compete now if you bring him. But with his mentality, someone like him and his mentality, 100%, he'll be on the jiu-jitsu mats every day, the wrestling mats he'll be learning all of that stuff like religiously. And I reckon if he did that and you gave him time, he'll be, I think he'll be like top 15 in the UFC, for example. Like, you know what I mean? Because he's got the mentality to be like, oh shit, I gotta learn this and I gotta learn that, and he'll do it. You know what I mean? But him just bringing him in, everything's a bit outdated. But end of the day, he is like the grandfather, in my opinion, the grandfather of MMA, because he was thinking back then, I need to learn different martial arts. I don't care about cultures and Japanese martial arts and Korean. No, I need to learn all of it. And you know, when he came to the US, he trained with Gene LeBell and done some grappling and all that sort of stuff. So he definitely had the mentality of mixed martial arts before it wasn't even a thing. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to it, but you know, he would do some training, put it that way, and he would definitely do something. But right now, you put him in there, it'll be struggle. It will struggle. It'd be hard to see. It's hard to say because I'm such a fan. I just want to say he would win, but it's not. It's not the reality of the situation.
Fair answer. Like, even so, like I think his influence is still very, very strong. His shadow is still looming in like the whole martial arts, MMA, UFC like fight space. Like you always see, like again, GSP. I think I saw an interview with him talking about Bruce Lee. I saw I think a clip of like Anderson Silva saying "Be water, my friend" on camera or whatever. So like I think his influence is still there. Like I do agree that the fact that he was like the unofficial grandfather of MMA, even though it wasn't like a thing back then, but yeah, like his influence was there. To be fair, when you actually deep it, it's like his influence started a lot of things, not just like UFC and MMA, like movies, video games, like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Naruto, like it's insane. Like I was watching, I don't know if you've read this book. Have you read this book, Be Water, My Friend, by Shannon Lee, his daughter?
I haven't. No. Okay. I
would recommend
it down. Yeah, let me write that down now, man. I will get that.
This came out surprisingly when I started training for the first time, like 2 years ago.
Okay.
2-3 years ago. Yeah. Like his influence is everywhere. Like Fei Long from Street Fighter, that's basically a parody of Bruce Lee. What's I forgot his name from Tekken, man.
Lee and Law. Sorry, Martial Law.
Law, yes, Martial Law from Tekken.
Yeah.
Rock Lee from Naruto.
Yeah.
You have like who else is there, man? I'm going blank right now, but like his influence is everywhere.
Yeah,
Mortal
I mean,
Kombat.
Kill Bill, the
Yeah,
nunchucks and whatnot.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah,
got such an. You're right. Any sort of, be it fighting game or martial art thing, there's always a Bruce Lee type
yeah,
influence in their character in there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like Enter the Dragon was a complete like base for Mortal Kombat when that was being made. So like the part like it's so the thing that baffles my mind is that like with Bruce Lee specifically, he died at 32. That's a shocking thing. He died at 32, but like the way people would talk about him is this it's like he lived up to like 100.
yeah,
The guy was like a stoic that young, and like he was that wise that young. So like I want to meet people, I want to meet more people like that in my life, just
yeah,
because you don't see people like that anymore. If not, it's very, very, very rare. So
yeah, for sure.
it's just, it just baffles my mind the fact that he died so young. Like,
That's
yeah,
a true, like, that legacy. You know what I mean? When people talk about legacy, I mean, that's a
yeah,
legacy forever. Like you said, 32, and what he's doing even to this day, it's crazy, the influence that he has. And also, some people forget this as well, and I was talking when I was in Hong Kong, especially because obviously that's where he was from and whatnot. I used to tell people it's not just the martial arts and the philosophy and the MMA and like he was a hero for immigrants. You know what I mean? When in the
yes,
US, you hear a lot of like old Cubans and whatnot, they used to dress like Bruce Lee because he was a hero for immigrants, not just Chinese people and whatnot, but going there and just breaking down doors and barriers through the movie industry or whatever it was. Everyone loved him. Like again, he was one of those characters that individuals that will go down in history that kind of made a difference in the world. I believe brought peoples together, brought cultures together. He believed in that quote that he has: "Everyone under the sky and the sun, we are all one." I butchered the quote, but you know what I'm saying. The quote.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, he was. People forget what he did from that perspective. He was a hero for immigrants. So I don't just love him for martial arts. I love him for putting us on the map as well. When I say us, I'm not just Chinese people, me as well. Like, you know what I mean? So there was
yeah,
that too. And that's a hard thing to do. I think that's harder than martial arts to like really stick up for yourself at that time of the, when of the world and the way it was and
yeah,
whatnot. So that's a
yeah.
big thing that he did.
Yeah, that's yeah. Like I didn't deep it like that actually. I've never thought of it like that from that perspective. So that really, yeah, that makes probably him even a better character with his legacy and stuff. That also another thing I want to mention in this book with what you just said, him being an immigrant. In the story they mentioned that I'll give you two stories. One was the first story was when he moved back to I think it was San Francisco or California where he opened up his first dojo. Um, a lot of the Chinese residents at that time didn't want him teaching Chinese kung fu to like international people, like foreigners and stuff, and like
Mhm.
American people. And like there was like a big like fight and feud between like him and like people around him. And like again, it's something straight out of anime where it's like those other martial art gyms challenge him, and whoever loses shuts down. So that's a fun story. Of course, he won at the end.
Yep.
Another example is when they were filming Enter the Dragon. Um, it wasn't like a clear, easy thing for him. Apparently, he had to fight the studio so much to make the film actually happen. I think he had to. He gave the story. I think in brief, it's like he gave the script to the studio. They were like, "Cool, we're gonna film it." Day one of shooting, he got the script back. He read it, and like all of like the Bruce Lee philosophy teaching stuff was cut out. And like he was like, yeah, no, I'm not filming this with you. So I think he just went home, stayed in his house the entire day until the studio gave in to like his needs. So like if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have had Enter the Dragon. So like yeah, so it's a crazy
Yeah,
butterfly effect.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, well, what you just mentioned is again just something to appreciate about who he was as a person. I mean, not only is he fighting foreigners, not like fighting, but the fighting that breaking down those barriers.
Yeah,
His own people are against him because of what he's trying to like integrate everyone as one and teaching martial arts and getting people together and all that. Like, how hard is that, man? Your own people are against you. You're trying to break barriers for your people, and
yeah,
he stuck to his guns, man, and he did what he did, and I think a lot of people forget that part of him as well. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, from the martial arts perspective, I mean, like, he as long as martial art exists, his legacy is always going to exist. And that's what true like a perception of like legacy, man. I mean, absolutely amazing. And I've always been proper geek out of Bruce Lee, man. I mean, I always love his martial arts. Even like stuff like the side kick, you know, people are utilizing that. And the oblique kick, like John Jones is one of the best at the oblique kick that he does. I mean, that was one of Bruce Lee's techniques. He does that to Chuck Norris in freaking, I think it was A Way of the Dragon or something. I mean, he's
Yeah.
doing that now. I mean, it's absolutely amazing that the influence that he does have. He'll be an amazing coach if he was alive now.
My God, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, bro. I wish.
I suppose those top MMA fighters will be paying him money to be like teach me philosophy and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah, amazing, man. You asked another question about if there was a martial arts that I haven't done that I would like to do. On that topic, it'll be probably Jeet Kune Do or Wing Chun. I've done a couple of Wing Chun classes, but we're talking about committing to a martial arts and really learning one. It would be between those two. I would want to say Jeet Kune Do just because it's more fluid in the sense of like incorporating different styles and making your own sort of thing. Because Wing Chun, end of the day, is still a rigid martial arts style, which I love, don't get me wrong, but it is still focused on our system and our stances and all this sort of stuff. And I would rather have an open-minded sort of martial arts one, and I feel like Jeet Kune Do is more towards that, in my opinion. So if I was to study something like that, if I had time to be like, you know what, go pick one martial arts, I would do that.
Okay, cool. Good answer.
Have you ever thought about doing?
You said you were in Hong Kong. Oh,
yeah. Have you ever thought about doing any of those, like any like the Wing Chun or Jeet Kune Do, or any of those styles?
At the moment, no. I think again, I'm still very early on in my, I guess, martial art journey. Eventually, yes, because I want to like learn as much as I can in my life. But I think in terms of like a martial art that I'd want to try, have you heard of Pencak Silat by any chance?
Yeah, the Indonesian one.
Yes, that's
Yes,
something
yeah,
I want to try. That's something I'm like, that looks cool. I want to try that very soon in the future. Again, like Indonesia is like a place that just fascinates me a lot. I would love to go there. I'm teaching myself Indonesian at the moment.
Oh,
Again,
nice. Okay.
yeah. Like language learning is another goal that I want to achieve. Yeah, I want to learn as many languages. Bengali as well, bro. Teach me.
I can't even speak Bengali myself.
Even the little phrases, bro. Honestly.
Well, you love Indonesia. I lived in Singapore. When I was in Singapore, I traveled to Indonesia a few times. Bro, it's amazing. It's amazing there. I mean, certain parts. I mean, I went to a place called Jakarta, I forget what. No, so the main capital is Jakarta, but this one was like Jakarta. So there's another area now. I think for short they call it Jogja. So beautiful, bro. Because again, I'm a mountains guy. So you had like these mountains and active volcanoes, which is a bit scary, but and these beautiful temples. But then obviously like it's Islamic country as well. So you have these amazing mosques. And I remember one thing, I was up, like they took me to this temple where you could see this beautiful sunrise, and you got two mountains. One of them is an active volcano. And as the sun is rising, you're in this temple as well, like this, again, these historical, I don't know what to call them, but these temples that all look like pyramids, right? Around the world. You're on one of those as well. And then you just heard the azan in the background. I promise you, it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I was mad tired. I got no sleep. I had to wake up at 2 a.m. I got back from my previous trip, my previous tourist day, from about 10 o'clock. I showered at 8. I went to bed around 12, had to wake up at 2 for this thing. I was mad tired, but bro, just to see that, it was beautiful, man. The sun rising between these two mountains, the azan is in the background. I'm in this historical temple thing that I'm sitting down in. It was just beautiful. You'll love it, man. If you have a chance,
oh, bro,
like,
that sounds so magical. That sounds so magical. Inshallah, bro, legit. Like East Asia in general is just a place that just fascinates me. You've been Hong Kong. You lived in Hong Kong, right?
Yeah.
I have heritage in China, so I have family in Hong Kong, and I've never been. There's a gym. I don't know if it rings a bell. Espada. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, Espada. Yes, I remember them. Yeah.
Yes. I have a family member that trains there. So I think he was a cage fighter. I don't know if it was one championship, but I know him through that. And like I have a full-on Chinese side of my family tree. I've never met them, but Hong Kong is on the list of places to go. I get it. Hong Kong, Indonesia, like Singapore as well. I think I started watching your channel when you were still in Singapore, or when you
Okay,
were just
okay.
or when you were just transitioning from Singapore to Dubai.
Okay, okay, okay.
But from the videos that Kibla showed on his Instagram page, bro, it looks so beautiful, bro.
Yeah, Singapore. All
That
of those
yeah.
places I love. And would you ever want to move abroad? Like, I mean, would you, if you ever had the opportunity, would you want to move abroad?
Yes, yes. But again,
Yeah.
that's like on the tick list that I want to do.
And would you
Um,
love to go to Southeast Asia? Is there anywhere specific that you would love to do? Or love to go,
um,
sorry?
Anywhere in Southeast Asia, again, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Bali, that region,
Yeah.
like would be yes, that's like my dream, I guess, at the moment. I don't like the UK. I'm getting fed up with the UK, to be fair. Like
Listen, brother.
I get it's home, but I feel like the cons outweigh the pros right now, and like it's killing me. Mainly it's mainly the mentality and the expenses that like
Mhm.
this I despise
Yeah,
because
I don't blame. Listen, brother, if I
yeah.
didn't have family there, then I wouldn't come back. Honestly, I only come back
Mm,
for family. That's how, I mean, that's how obviously how close I am to my family. I come back for them.
mm,
Otherwise, I wouldn't come back there. But you will love Southeast Asia. I mean, Hong Kong's amazing, beautiful sceneries, beautiful landscape. Obviously, Bruce Lee and all that vibe is there as
oh
well.
yeah.
Singapore, another amazing place as well. We're very efficient. One of the most efficient places I've ever lived in.
Is it
Very clean.
true? Is it true that gum is banned? Chewing
Yeah,
gums are
yeah, it's
banned.
fine. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
if you try
okay.
to walk in the airport with gum and they search you, for example, then yeah, they'll tell you to throw it away and whatnot.
Mad.
That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
wow.
You would walk around streets and not see chewing gum on the floor as you do in the UK. Like the last time I was in the UK, I was laughing at myself. I just walked from North Tottenham to South Tottenham to see a friend. Just a short little walk. Within that, bro, I came back home and I was telling my wife and my brothers and whatnot, like, this is how basic the UK is. The floor is cracked everywhere. The pavement's cracked. There's dog shit all over the place. There's gum all over the place. You don't get this in Singapore or Dubai and all that sort of stuff. Like like it's so grimy, but it's home. It's home. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
yeah.
you'll love it. You'll love it, man. And South, like if you're in Singapore, you can easily travel to like Malaysia, Indonesia. They're just around the corner, like one
Mm,
hour flights, or take a boat or drive up there, for example.
yeah,
You will love all those sort of places, man. I mean, inshallah, I recommend you travel out there and just enjoy it. It's very safe as well. It's another crazy thing that I didn't know. It's safe out there. Those places are super safe.
yeah,
You could be in Singapore and I would let my mother walk around 3 in the morning. I know she's gonna be cool. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Same with Dubai. That's another thing I love about Dubai. It's one positive. It's safe here. You know, I mean, again, I would let my mother, if she wanted to go for a walk at 3 a.m., yeah, go for it. In London, I'd be like, no, what the hell are you doing? Like, you know, no. Like my wife goes for walks sometimes. I have not worry in the world. But if this was the UK, I'm like, no, man, you can't go for a walk now. I have to come with you. Like, and I don't want to come with you. So, you know what I mean? It's dangerous. So the safetiness is amazing. Um,
Yeah.
and if you go to Hong Kong, then brother, you gotta go to Japan. Like if you go up north, then
Yes.
you have to, because I know you love your anime, you will love Japan. I tell you something, like I love all of Asia, but my favorite has to be Japan because
Okay.
the people there, I promise you, I think even to this day, bro, the people there are the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Bro, like they're so humble, they're so like helpful. It's just amazing. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's some bullshit there everywhere there is, but
Yeah.
if you go there, man, people are just so nice. It's unbelievable, man. You wouldn't be treated differently in any way. They don't speak English, but they will do whatever they can to help you. It's like the nicest people I've ever come across. So you would have to do that. If you go to that side of the world, you cannot go there and not go to Japan. So make sure that's on your list.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, like all my entire friend group, Japan's like the number one thing. So yeah, inshallah one day. Like yeah, like I feel like just East Asia as a whole, as a collective, they're very just like more respectable compared to I guess the UK, for example, or like the West. So that's just something I like so much. Especially like I had like a massive like culture shock coming back to the UK. I went to Saudi Arabia for a month, um, during Ramadan as well. So like that was like peak high, like spiritual levels were at its highest. And I met people from everywhere. I met people from France. I met people from Saudi Arabia, the Middle East. I met people from Indonesia. They were so nice. You can just say salam alaikum to anyone. They'll reply back. They'll give you food. They'll give you drinks, dates, tea for free. Bro, the tea was
Yeah.
so peng. They'll give you gifts like a Quran. And you're like, I don't even know you, and you're giving me this. And
Yeah.
like everyone was so nice. The day I came back to the UK, first of all, gray. It's gray. Me and my friends are just looking at each other, and we're like, "Nah, man, this is not it." And then like a week in, you're like, "Oh," no, then it really kicks in like a week in. You're like, "Oh my god!" I like you smile, like you just wave at or smile at a person walking by you. They give you the dirtiest look. It's like you're like, I don't want this feeling anymore. So that was like a big culture shock as well.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
I was listening to a podcast recently, and there's a guy called Zubi. I can't remember the podcast name, but there's a guy called Zubi. He's like, he used to be a UK rapper. But anyway,
right,
he does a lot of this talk. But anyway, he used to live in Saudi Arabia as well. And he was talking about the difference between the West and the Middle East, for example. And it's like in the West, one of the things that we all strive on is like we have freedom of speech. We have freedom of everything, which a little bit is a bit of bullshit, but that's one of the things that we have. But he was like, well, some people, freedom is of speech and whatnot, or freedom in general, might not be their number one priority. Like if you asked a mother, what would you want for their child? One of the main things they might say is safety. Now, you're not really safe in the Western countries, like in the Western world. Like, we live in a certain area where you have to look over your back sometimes. And in the US, people getting shot and all that sort of stuff and whatnot. But if you live in the Middle East, Qatar, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, it is safe here. Like, yes, they have rules and whatnot. You might not have the freedom which you cherish, which is cool. If you want freedom, you got it in the West and whatnot. But if you want something like safety, because that could be more important to you in life, you don't get that there. You get that in the Middle East and whatnot.
yeah,
So everywhere has these pros and cons and everything. It just depends what you want as an individual and what you cherish as an individual. And I definitely will cherish free what do you call it safety, man. If inshallah I have children one day, like I don't want to bring them back to the UK. I probably will just because my family's there, but really I want them to be safe. You know what I mean? I want them to be
yeah,
like, yeah, go out and play. I don't have to think about someone trying to rob you or kidnap you or something like that. You know what I mean? In the UK, man,
yeah.
it's a bit of a scary one because these things happen. Not just UK, but in the Western world, in South America, all those sort of places. It can be dangerous, man.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. Like again, like Alhamdulillah, I'll always be grateful for what I've been given. Like I'm not living in like a war-torn country like Ukraine or what's happening in Palestine and stuff. Alhamdulillah, like again, like I have a roof over my head, I have a food. But it's just one of them things where it's like you want to for your future, right? Like honestly, well, I have the same mindset as you. It's like future kids. I'm not even married yet, but like if I have like a wife I have to take care of, inshallah, it's like I want to make sure like that entire like phase of my life is no problems, no issues, nothing inconvenient for them and for myself. So yeah, like that's already in like my mindset right now. But I think it's just again just working towards it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again, like I don't want to bash the West too much because there are pros. But again, there's an equal amount of cons to it. So I don't hate, like I don't go raging and hating and complaining about stuff every day. But it's just like it could be better if we were like somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, bro, to be honest, though, just from my experience living around the world, no place is perfect, though. Be it
Yeah,
Middle East, the West, East Asia, what no place is perfect. You're gonna come across shit that you don't like. There is not one place where everything is just like this utopia. That don't exist.
mhm,
So that's just facts. It's just as an individual, what do you like? And the reason why the UK it means a lot to me is because it is home. Like, I've always said this, like my granddad fought in World War II. Like, he was invited over to Britain. Like, I have this deep connection with it, with the UK because of all of that. My father built his life there, and got us to where we are now. We born and raised there. So it means so much to me. It's home. Whether
mhm,
you like your home or not, or have problems with it, that's normal. We're always gonna have problems, but it means a lot to me being British and all that sort of stuff.
mhm,
But yeah, when you do think about future and whatnot, you're like, well, now I'm older and I'm gonna have kids and stuff. What will be best for them? Like, yes, Britain's home and I love it and whatnot, but what will be best for them? And that's when you start thinking about other sort of things, other places and whatnot. But no place is perfect, though.
yeah, yeah, 100% agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope that didn't come off as like complaining and whiny.
No, no, no,
As
no, no.
oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, it's all good. Listen, man, we're just expressing ourselves. That's what we do, man. That's what we do on,
yeah,
you know what I mean? I think that's what's great about these platforms. And even when you do your videos and whatnot, you're giving your thoughts and you're very articulate, by the way. The way you do it is actually amazing. Some of your breakdowns and everything. So you have a very articulate, and obviously I think maybe that comes from your creative perspective. You and Kibble are good at that. Like I was telling Kibble the other day, I'm not articulate articulate in the way of expressing things. The best way I could do it is just by having a conversation. But that's what you do. Like, you know, you're just expressing your thoughts basically.
Yeah, no, thanks. I think that I appreciate it. Like the articulation when it comes to me was I've been doing YouTube since I was like 16. I've been talking like what I've been doing now is what I've been doing like way back then. So like me, little 16-year-old self talking about comics. And I think I just gradually, naturally just improved my speaking skills as the years went on. So it's one of them things where I was like, subhanAllah, alhamdulillah, I was so happy when I started back then. So like the things happened. But again, like everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Like I'm terrible at speaking without a script. I need to have like a note or like a notepad with me just in case. If I don't, I stutter, I go, wait, that I pause. With a script, I'm very like, I'm on it. So yeah. But I can relate to what you say. Yeah. When
Is this
I think I don't know
something you
what review
learned?
you were talking about.
I,
This was all yeah.
Yeah. Is this something that you learned when you
Yeah.
started? Because when you were 16, right? Because you're young still, right? And you're putting yourself out there on
Yeah.
YouTube, right? So there's a lot
Yeah.
to it. I didn't start doing this shit till what, 8, 9 years ago. So I was still an adult. And even as an adult, we're still human. We have our insecurities. At the beginning, man, I was like, Kibbs, I don't know if I want to do this, bro. Like, I don't want people to see me and I'm talking shit and I can't even read. And like, you've heard us, I can't even read names. But so when you were doing it, like, have you always been like a confident speaker, a very extroverted type of person? Like, how did it start off for you? Was there nerves, or how did you overcome all of that?
I think for me is like I've always been a shy person, like a shy kid growing up. But it's like if it's about certain topics that I like and that I'm passionate about, I'll like be very, very confident on stage. But now it's come to the point now where I can legit like I still say I'm an introvert, but I'm an extroverted introvert, if you get me. Like I'd rather still be to myself than have a convo with a group of people. But like say if the moment arises where like I have to like talk, then I'll do it. But yeah, like with YouTube, when I first started, it was like first of all, I grew up watching like other review channels. I don't know what's the YouTube. Have you heard of YouTubers like Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman and them lot by any chance?
I haven't, no,
Oh,
I have
okay.
not.
So they're like OG like YouTube reviewers, and all they used to do was just put the camera in front of them and talk about movies and video games and comics. So I was like, I'm gonna do that. And that was pretty much it. So it was like, oh, it was so old. It was like Captain America, it was the Civil War comic. It was like Ninja Turtles on the SNES. Very, very like niche topics that a 16-year-old wouldn't talk about on like with his friends. I was like, my friends don't talk about this stuff. I want to talk about it because no one talks about it. So let me just do it. And I think it just became a natural like incline of just like I just got better and better as time went.
Do you remember
Yeah.
your first one? Like before you press record or said it live, did you script it? Would you like, oh shit, this ain't gonna work? Like, did it take a long time, or did you just fuck it? I'm pressing record, I'm going live, let's go. Like, do you remember how the first one went?
I actually have the first ever take of me recording myself. To this day, I still have it. I think it was me talking about Captain America. No, it was me talking about the Civil War comic, the Marvel Civil War comic. Because this was just before. Oh, you're lagging. You're good?
I can hear you still. The camera's a bit lagging and
Oh,
whatnot, but I can hear your voice still. The voice is still fine.
okay. So this was just before Phase 3 was announced for the MCU. It was just after, or just before. And I was like, oh my God, I've read the comic for this and the movie's happening. No one in the world knows about this. So I'm gonna like be the big man and be like, hey, look, I've read the comic. This is what the movie's gonna be about. So I remember, I think I did like a couple of notes. It was like, hi guys, my name is Yusuf, and I'm gonna talk about Civil War. And then yeah, it was very, very like cheesy and cringe. But I think looking back on it, I feel very, very nostalgic. Like looking back on stuff like that, I'm like, oh my God, like I would want to hug like Mile and my 16-year-old son, be like, yo, I'm so proud of you. Because like if you didn't do it, I wouldn't be here. So yeah,
Awesome.
I don't see stuff like in a cringy way. Like I'm like, alhamdulillah, man. That's yeah, it's
What
yeah. I'm
what
I'm so happy about it.
what advice would you give that person now though, based on the experience where you are now doing it? Like, what advice would you give that 16-year-old apart from a big hug and said, well done?
Um, just I'll just like again, but first of all, start martial arts as soon as possible. That's the one thing. That's the one thing. Just start training now. But two, it's just like just I think just I'd say just work harder. That's the only. It's a bit cliche, like you tell out to anyone, but just yeah, just work harder, I guess. Like just be a bit more open-minded with stuff. I think, yeah, just be more open-minded, be more adventurous. Um, and fair enough, that was only like a 7 year gap from here to now. But it's one of them things where it's like the sooner you start, the more experienced you are. But I think again, I don't regret stuff, so I'm happy with
Mm.
where I was back then. Because again, that's how life works, in it. So yeah,
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 alhamdulillah. Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's how life works. What about your process now then? Because like I said, your videos, what you're doing now are very visually amazing. They're articulate. What's your process now? Do you script it? Do you have an idea? Like obviously you talk about what you love, which is turtles and whatnot. Is there something that pops in your head? You're like, oh shit, I want to make a video about this specific thing. And then do you start visualizing how you want it to look and then what you want to say? Or how does that work?
Yes. So I guess for an example, you watch a movie, you have the buzz, you're like, okay, I want to talk about this movie, I want to spread the awareness for it. Uh, More people need to watch this movie. Let me start a script. I have a couple of like mental notes that I want to talk about, certain scenes, certain action sequences, my thoughts on the casting, the music, the dialogue, my favorite sequences, and the context behind the film, like behind the scenes, what were the process of like the filmmakers thinking. Then like put that in a script. Um, to this day, I'm still improving my writing and scripting. And then once that's all done, I record it on my software, say everything out loud, until I'm happy with the takes. Then after that, you trim all the ifs, buts, and ums and the stuttering out, so it's a lot more cleaner. And then again, make sure like you're looking good on camera. The camera, like the lighting is good. You come like more expressive. Then after that, add the B-roll footage in. So like if I'm talking about John Wick fighting against Donnie Yen, I'll throw in the B-roll footage of them actually fighting on the screen, and then just edit it well, to the point where like you're happy with it. But in short, it's kind of like being a filmmaker,
Mhm.
reviewing stuff on YouTube. So yeah, like yeah. But it's come to the point now where like there's so much stuff I want to do. Um, there's so many like balls you have to juggle at the same time.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Because I
yeah.
again, I think like I compare you and Kibbs because I think you guys just have this creative mind frame. You're good like at art and all that sort of stuff. So when what you're explaining there is like you got this storyboard in your head. I don't have that. I'm not the artist.
Right.
I'm not. I don't have that sort of articulation in my head. But Kibla has something similar. Where with me, I told Kibbs like I can't do those reviews. I can't do what you just spoke through. So what's best for me is I just put the camera on and I just talk. And all the ums and ahs are gonna be there, but I'm just gonna express. And I need as much time as possible. Like Kibla, those you guys do this brilliant thing where you could do something in 60 seconds. I done one for not Fast and Furious, what's that movie? The Gran Turismo. It was so shit. It was so bad. I was like, Kibla, delete that, man. I don't want that out there. But anyway, I was like, I'm not doing that no more. So the next movie review I did was for Sound of Freedom, which should be coming out in the UK. If you get a chance, do watch it, bro. Um, I was like, Kibbs, this is not a 60-second review type movie. Like, I'm gonna just put the camera on and talk to it until I feel like I'm done. And that went on for like 30 minutes. And I was like, that's how I'm gonna do my reviews and whatnot. But you guys are amazing because you got this storyboard in your head. Kibla just taught me recently how to do the editing and whatnot. Because he was doing it all himself. And it was just a bit difficult. Obviously, he's got kids and everything. So I was like, Kibbs, you
Mhm.
got to teach me how to do it. So he teaches me the basics. So I'm just getting into how to edit, put the intro in there, put the outro, put a little transition, upload it onto YouTube and whatnot. So I could do those sort of things, but and some of the trailer reactions he's taught me how to do. But then when you do those mini ones, I'm like, yeah, that's beyond what I could do, man. But we're different, you know what I mean? That's the beauty about these sort of platforms. Like we can just have conversations, and everyone has a different perspectives on how they articulate things and whatnot.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, like again, you try, you fail, you keep going in it until like you're comfortable with like the right thing. But yeah, it's really cool. Like I love your guys' reviews and like your discussions on certain topics.
I
Um,
appreciate it, man. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah. Favorite, I want to do a bit of a quick fire on with you. Favorite superhero. I want to say it's the guy behind you, Yes.
It's this guy, yeah, the Punisher. When you were talking
Okay.
about Civil War, the comic, I'll never forget that scene. It's one of my favorite scenes where you remember the scene when the Punisher joins. He tries to he saves Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yes, in the tunnel.
And then
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
bro.
so then he brings him to Cap and the team, and then some villains,
Yeah,
I can't remember when but they tried to join Cap's team, and
yeah. And then he
immediately
shoots
Punisher
them,
starts.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's one of
bro.
my
Yeah,
favorite scenes. And then Cap
bro.
just beats him up, and he's like, "No, I won't fight you, Cap." But
Yeah,
yeah,
because you're the one I wish I could be like.
yes,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm like, oh, bro, I need to read.
I
I
love.
want to read the comic now.
Yeah,
It's
man.
yeah,
So
that's
yes,
so good.
Punisher's my favorite, man. Who's
Okay,
yours?
okay.
Who's yours?
The guy next to Punisher behind you.
Ah, Batman.
Yeah.
Okay,
As like my
okay.
safe answer. I have a lot of superheroes, but I think in terms of storytelling, Batman's like the one character that I'll always go to for stories, whether that be like Year One, Frank Miller. Um, but I'm not gonna lie, right now I am loving Ninja Turtles. I'm going through a Ninja Turtles phase right now.
Yeah.
I think I heard you guys talking about the Last Ronin on one of the episodes that you did. Have you read it yet,
No,
by any
I'm trying to
chance?
get a copy. So I literally messaged
Okay.
my comic book guy out here, and I said, "Do you have a copy of the Last Ronin thing?" So hopefully he has one because they're making a prequel apparently. So
Oh, okay.
so I want to get into that because Kibler's been talking about it for a while, but I didn't get it. My old comic book shop didn't have it, so I'm asking my new guys if they have it.
Okay, okay. Favorite superhero movie.
Ooh, okay. Favorite superhero movie. See, I want to say Winter Soldier because I think that's awesome. I want to say The Dark Knight because that's like one of my best movies of all time. Like you forget superhero movies. So I mean, I tell you what, I'm gonna put Dark Knight because it's like one of my favorite movies of all time. It goes in my top 10 somewhere because I think it's absolutely amazing. I do, but different movies make me feel different way. Like Endgames, that last scene of Endgame, I could watch that and be like, I'm doing 1,000 press-ups right now. Let's go. Like, do you know what I mean? So certain movies get me hyped and whatnot. But if you're talking about like one of my favorites, if I had to pick one, I'll put The Dark Knight. That was just absolutely amazing.
Okay, yeah, solid choice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Bro,
What
you
about
can't go
you?
wrong.
Yeah. What about
I want
you?
to go Dark Knight as well, but since you said that already, I want to say, mm, oh, okay. My go-to answer is Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
Doc Ock, that entire train sequence,
So
like,
good. Yeah.
yeah, like when he's holding onto the train and he's like, ah, and then like he passes out. Then you have that wholesome moment where like the New York citizens are like holding him up, takes the
Yeah.
mask off, and he's like, bro, he's just a kid. And the music,
So
bro, yeah,
good.
bro, yeah,
Yeah. No,
the
that was
speech,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely
bro,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah. Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
I'm a Street Fighter guy. Street Fighter. I love Mortal Kombat, but I've never played. I played the old ones, but I'm a Street Fighter guy. I bought Street Fighter 6. I'm playing a little bit. Ash, who's the other brother you probably seen on the podcast, he's more of a gamer and whatnot. He
Oh,
plays the
okay,
Mortal Kombat more than he does it. Because Mortal Kombat, what I've noticed, they have a great storyline, like which I love.
yeah,
Like you with these Street Fighter games and whatnot, they just beat 'em up games. You select your
yeah,
character, you go through, and that's it. With Mortal Kombat, what I love, there's a story, and as through the story, you have a fight. I love that concept. I wish Tekken took that concept on because I would love to play Tekken in that type of storyline concept.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm a Street Fighter as well. I always like ask. I always like every time I meet a new person, just to like kind of feel them out. I'm like, okay, what's your favorite character? What's your favorite game? And so on. Who's your main? If you have a main, like who's your go-to character?
Oh, in Street Fighter,
Yeah,
it's always Ken and Ryu, but Ken first because I like his speed more than because Ryu's more powerful and whatnot, but a little bit slower. I like Ken's speed, so I'm always Ken.
okay, cool. Good choice.
Yeah,
Good choice.
not that I'm good though. I'm not good at it. Fucking some of the moves are hard these days, man. Have you played Street Fighter 6?
I'm so behind, bro. Video games, I'm so behind on, man. I want to get Street Fighter 6 so badly. But it's one of them things where it's like the commitment. You literally have to put your life into memorizing
Yes.
combos.
Yeah.
Um, and like the skill bar is so high for Street Fighter, especially like saying you're good, it doesn't mean you're good. That means like you're passable. Saying you're good is
Mm.
like you're all the way here. I'm like
Yeah.
below the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that.
Same here.
And
I'm
yeah,
practicing my combos, and you're right. Like it takes a commitment to learn them
yeah,
and then getting the coordination. Like sometimes
yeah,
the signal between my brain and my fingers, there's a delay, and you can't get the
yeah,
combos out.
yeah.
But it's great. Now I'm not. Ash is more of a gamer. I'm playing God of War like right now. That's the game I love. The last game I completed with was Ghost of Tsushima. That took me like 4 years to complete. So I completed that in 4 years. God of War, I'm playing that now. That'll probably take me another 3-4 years. I literally play like an hour a week if I have time. But Street Fighter 6 is good. It is good. I just pull it on to just see some combos. And the way the animation is now is so good. Like compared, the 2D stuff is always going to be amazing, but the way you can connect combos, the way the movements are, the way the specials and all that stuff are, the animation is really cool now.
Okay, cool. Favorite comic book, like your comic book storyline run. What's a go-to?
Yeah, that's a good one. It definitely has to be something with the Punisher, because my comic book collection is mostly the Punisher. Trying to think, it might be the Punisher Max ones. Actually, I don't know if I could put a name, if I could put a run on it, because I love all of them. Like the ones that came out recently. Okay, the newest one, I know people were shitting all over it. I still love it because I'm biased over the Punisher. But there was the ones that came out in 2018 where he wore the War Machine suit. Did you ever see that one?
Oh, that sounds so cool.
Bro,
wow.
Punisher in the War Machine suit. Bro, you could just imagine what he would do with that suit. And he done it. He'll punch holes through people and all that sort of stuff. He'll, rip off people's arms and, just doing Punisher shit. So I would say it's something with the Punisher, basically.
What would you say is a good? Okay, Punisher for me, I'm a casual, right, when it comes to the Punisher. I only know him through like crossover events when it comes to comics, the Daredevil season 2 Netflix series, the games, Marvel vs. Capcom, and so on. I don't barely know nothing about his story, to be fair. What's a good comic gateway in for him as a new reader?
Yeah, that's just, I would say Welcome Back, Frank is a good one. I think that's good. Some of the Punisher Max stories, I think, like I can't remember exact names off the top of my head, but some of the Punisher Max ones are good. Because some of them so people think I love the Punisher because he's just violent, and yes, I do love him because he's just violent and he's raw and whatnot. And when I was young and I used to go through shit on the streets, I always used to be like, I wish there was a Punisher here to blast these people away. Of course, it's wrong, but when you read the comics, you understand the PTSD that he's gone through, you understand the trauma that he's gone through, and then some of the justice that he does lay out. Like I just watched The Sound of Freedom, right? And if you watch it, you'll feel it, right? And there's I think it's in one of the Punisher Night comics. I can't remember which one it was, where it was literally there was some parents who were filming their children in doing wrong acts, basically, right? Punisher just knocks up on the door, brings the children upstairs into one room, takes the parents downstairs into the basement, and just blasts them away, calls the police. So the kids go. I mean, look, that's raw. But what I'm saying is there's a certain level of justice that you just feel like, that sometimes that's necessary. Not saying I want it, it's wrong, guys, don't think I'm crazy. But there's something about that where I'm like, this guy's got so much trauma. There's something wrong in the world, rather than possibly giving that wrong another chance, he just gets rid of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, Daredevil season 2, he says it, to Daredevil, you
knock them, guy, they get back up. When I do it, they stay down. Bro, that scene on the rooftop is one of my favorite scenes in like television ever.
Same,
bro.
Same.
It's so good.
I would say that as well. Like if you were to get to Punisher, I would say check season 2 out of Daredevil, because that gives you a great.
No, I've seen that season, but I haven't seen his series though. Would you say that's a good gateway in?
Yeah, 100%. The Daredevil one's the best gateway in, and then watching his season, yeah, for sure. If you have a chance, watch those two, because then it gives you a bit more. They change the story, but it gives you the bit of the mental aspect of what he's going through and why he's going through this PTSD and whatnot. So there's a lot to it, man. The last comics that came out, which people hated. I don't know if you heard anything, but basically he got a bit more powers. He joined the Hand. They gave him some sort of powers and whatnot. Long story short, Punisher at the end of it uses the powers of the Beast that he got to teleport himself to another dimension. Not even Doctor Strange can find him. So it's like the end of Frank Castle, right? That's how they tried to run it. I don't think it'll be the end. He's gonna come back for sure. There's a new Punisher one coming out in November. can't remember the guy's name, but it's not Frank Castle. It's a new guy, a guy from Shield or whatnot, right?
Okay.
People are controversial. Listen, even me, I love Frank. That's my guy. But I believe he's going to come back. Anyway, the one amazing thing about this comic, the one that just happened that everyone hated, the last part, his wife, Maria, she came back alive. The hand brought her back alive and whatnot, right? Like they did for Elektra and all that sort of stuff, right? She was disappointed in him on how he got revenge for their death. He's like, this is the legacy you're leaving for our family, our children and everyone, they got killed, and this is how you react, and you go on this murdering spree. It was actually really deep. And by the end of this comic, she leaves him. It's fucking heartbreaking. And this guy's whole life, who I love, he created this war on the streets because of his wife and kids. But it was wrong. And she expressed that to him. You were wrong to do that. That's how you honored our family. There's so many other ways you could have honored our family, but you done it in a murderous way. And then she left him. It was freaking heartbreaking. And those are the little things that I love about these stories. And he always has respect for Captain America, which I always love as well. It's like these little things about him. People think he's just a brute murderer, but he's definitely got a lot of honor in him. But there's a PTSD in him. And I can't relate to it because I'm not a war hero or whatnot, or a veteran or whatnot, but it does touch on what people go through and stuff. So yeah, deep connection with the Punisher, man. But
yeah,
I don't know if that answers your question, but what about you though? What about you? Like if you said Batman's your favorite, what one would you say is an introduction into Batman, and why? Why is there something specific that connects you to Batman, like emotionally or whatnot, that you feel that you can relate to him, or just why you got love for him?
Oh, okay, that's a very good question. I think that's a deep question. I think, to be fair, like Batman was never my favorite superhero when I was growing up. It was always like, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Hulk, the Teen Titans, especially like that era of cartoon. Batman was like the Dark Knight movies were like, oh, this is good. Like this is really good. But I think when I got into comics, my gateway comic was Batman: The New 52. Like that era was like my gateway into DC. So the Court of Owls. I didn't mention this on Kibler's episode as well. But it's the story. Have you read it by any chance?
I don't think I have.
So the concept is that like the Court of Owls, they were like a myth in Gotham. They were like a children's story to scare kids at night. That they were like an Illuminati. And they would like kill people on the down low, and like they would control the city without anyone knowing. An Illuminati, pretty much. But the concept is that, Batman, like he is the guy of Gotham. He's the guardian. Like he knows everyone and everything that's happening around him. So like imagine all these years as he's growing up, the history of Gotham. There's been like a syndicate that's been running the entire city this entire time. And that's been under Batman's nose the entire time. And when he finds out, he's like, what the hell is going on? And like you see like him getting beaten to like his limits because he just didn't know about this threat. He gets infiltrated, his family gets infiltrated. It's really, really cool. And that leads to like the the death of the family. Death in the family, where like Joker comes back. He's been missing for a while. But like his entire face has been cut off. He's been faceless for a while. And he's back. He's crazy. He's killing everyone again. And it's one of them things where it's like, what have I done? I should really kill you, because it's typical Batman and Joker where it's like they push each other. But I wouldn't say it's the best Batman story I've read, but it's the most sentimental just because it started my comic book journey for me. So I'll probably go with that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What about, let me throw you one. What about Dragon Ball and Naruto?
Oh, I love both so much. I love both. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably go Dragon Ball just because that was the first. Dragon Ball was primary school. Naruto was high school.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And who was your favorite
Yeah.
character in Dragon Ball?
Trunks.
Trunks, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. It's the sword, bro. The sword, bro. Anyone with a sword, I love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I go Trunks.
And he had the cool hairstyle. Remember when they were fighting come on, what's his name? Why have I gone blank? The android one. What's his name?
Oh, Cell.
Cell. Yes. I remember when he came out of the hyperbolic chamber and Trunks just looked hench and he had that wicked hairstyle. But he was sick. Yeah, I remember that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I remember how I got into Dragon Ball. I never watched it, and my friends used to watch it, and I'd be like, nah, that's basic, man. I'm Fist of the North Star guy, blah blah blah. Anyway, I was at my friend's house once after school, and Vegeta was on. Like they were watching it, he was watching it, and I was like not paying attention, but then I paid attention to Vegeta because the way he was talking, and I was like, that's my dude. And then I just got into Dragon Ball. Like from there, like because of him, I got into it and I just loved it from there. So he's
Yeah.
been my favorite character always, just because of his attitude.
Yeah.
But with Naruto, I was the same. I was always biased towards Dragon Ball. So I was like, I'm not watching this Naruto thing. And everyone was telling me, just watch it, just watch it. But I started watching it. I'm deep in. I love it, man. I'm in the Shippuden episodes now. So I got tons to go. Issue is they don't show it here, and my VPN doesn't work, so it's just difficult for me to watch it. So,
Oh, damn.
but I am on the Naruto thing. I'm just on episodes where you've seen it all, right?
Yeah, I've seen all. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, like basically where Jiraiya is what's his name? Okay. Sasuke has killed Orochimaru, or like killed Orochimaru, and he's created his own gang, and Jiraiya's on some next journey and whatnot. But anyway, I'm around that sort of episode.
Okay. I think I know roughly where you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I love
Yeah.
Naruto. My friend was telling me you would like Naruto, and I do love his character, like the honor and the respect, and the fact that he sees good in everyone. And even with Sasuke, he wants to bring him home and everything. Like he's good in everyone, considering the fact that everyone not hates him, but has a perception of him because he's one of those he's got the 9 tails in him and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I love the character that he is.
Yeah, the themes of Naruto are very, very deep, which I appreciate, because I think if you're a non-anime watcher, you just think, oh, it's just people ninjas fighting each other. But the storyline, the themes go very, very deep about war, friendship, just everything, betrayal, different clans fighting each other. Being like, it's insane. Naruto, oh my god, like I love Naruto. So, like I legit geek out when I talk about it. I'll never forget the day where I think I was in year 7 or year 8. It was year 7 or year 8. I was ill, and it was the tuning exams. When they're kids, right? Rock Lee versus Gaara.
Oh yes,
That's
okay,
bro. Imagine, I'm like half like ill, lying on my side, and like you have Lee and Gaara fighting. You're like, oh, this is sick. And then Guy Sensei is like, okay, Lee, you take your weights off. And like he's like, yes, okay. He takes them off, drops it, and everyone's like, what difference is that going to make? And all you hear is a massive explosion.
Yeah.
And you're like, bro, I legit got up, and I think my flu went completely. I was cured.
But do you know Israel Adesanya, the middleweight champion of the UFC?
Yes, I've seen him do like the Rock Lee.
Yes.
And someone did a Garo pose. Someone did a Garo pose next to him as well. I can't remember who he was fighting. But he's a big anime fan.
Yeah,
he's a very big anime
he's
fan.
a big anime fan, yeah. And then there's a UK fighter called Michael Venom Page as well, who's also another big anime fan. So there was one fight that he came out in, it was in Japan, and he ran out to the cage like the Naruto run, the hands behind you. It was quite sick. It was quite sick.
Oh, so cool. Yeah, Naruto is so good, man. Dragon Ball, yeah. Those are like top 2 for me. There's a lot more, but I'll go with those 2 as like good gateways in for anime. The action is insane. Like I really want to watch Dragon Ball Z just because I want to start. It's gonna make me want to train every day.
Yeah.
You see Goku training in Trunks. Your favorite fight that you've seen
in Naruto, or my favorite fight in Naruto. I'm gonna say one of the recent ones, man. I can't remember names, but it's when they're fighting, the Orochimaru's clan. What are they called again? The one in the black and red robes.
Oh, Akatsuki.
Akatsuki, yeah. It was one of those. Naruto just learned how to combine the wind force with water, I think it is.
Yes.
And then they beat one of those. Actually, no, I tell you what was freaking emotional. You know my guy with the beard who had the cigarette?
Asuma Sensei. Yeah.
Yes, Asuma Sensei. Sorry, I don't know the name. But the guys who killed him, and then they went and beat them guys. That whole thing was one of my favorite, because it's from recency bias, because it was so emotional. I was like, holy shit, this cartoon's gonna make me cry, bro. So they're really good at that. So I'm gonna say that whole fight scene and like a couple episodes around that was amazing.
Yeah, that entire arc was so good. That was
Yeah.
good choice, good choice. That was really good. Yeah. Yeah,
I was,
Naruto's great, bro.
but from Dragon Ball, I'd have to say, it would have to be the Cell Saga again, because that's the one that sticks out a lot. I think that's when I got into it really as well. And it was when Vegeta was fighting Cell. I loved just the way, like, not only that because at the beginning he was smashing him, but at the point when he realized that this is not enough, like what I've been doing in the hyperbolic chamber is not enough. Those I used to love that, man. I used to love the way they, even when they spent 5 6 episodes charging up, there was something about the anticipation of like, I can't wait till he's fully charged to see what
Yeah.
happens, which I used to love about Dragon Ball as well. They were great at the anticipation of them getting into the fights.
Oh yeah, and the payoff was so satisfying. Like
Yeah,
when like Gohan releasing his Kamehameha against Cell, like bro, the emotion,
it's
like
so
the raw
good.
energy, you feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Fist? So you mentioned Fist of the North Star, right? You watched the movie is obviously the classic. You watched the series as well, or just the movie?
I've I've never watched the movies. I haven't watched the live
Ah,
action
okay.
movie yet, but I've watched a bit
Not
of
the
the
live action one. That was basic.
oh,
But
oh, okay, oh
the
nah.
anime, the manga which came out in the 80s.
Yeah, I've read a bit of the manga and a bit of the anime. I've watched a bit of the anime as well. Again, it's very 80s style.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I love the Mad Max vibes. I
Yes,
just love
yeah.
the world. So like I hope there's like a like they reanimate it with like HD visuals because I think it's something it's a story that I think more people need to know about because it's what kickstarted action anime for that genre, specifically like that particularly. Um and it's just very like masculine and like just macho. I love
Yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah.
but so the manga, like the original cartoon that I watched, the movie and whatnot, the animated movie and whatnot, what
Yeah.
with Ken Shido and whatever, it was yeah, it was as you said very 80s because when they would do fast paced action, the background would go all fuzzy and whatnot, and
Yeah.
it was just like. I remember watching it as a kid and be like, wait, why are they bleeding? And why is his head exploding and all this sort of stuff? But as you watch it as an adult, yes, those things are like violent and whatnot, but just the storyline of the human race, which freaking can happen now, that Mad Max things of just nuclear war and all that sort of stuff, and then
Mm.
power and just finding your love and even brothers in martial arts just turning against each other because there's opportunity of power, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what people do, like, when in if there's an opportunity of power, I mean, I think COVID kind of showed it, like, especially in the US,
Oh
for
yeah.
example, certain states and governments were like, oh, I'm in charge now of my state. Like, I can make rules. No one can work. No one can do that. And it's almost like that. Like, there's an opportunity of power and everyone just tries to get to it and whatnot. And that's just in the human nature and whatnot. And I used to love that about the Fist of the North Star. That is probably my all-time favorite best anime, Fist of the North Star.
Good choice. That's a very good choice. Yeah. Classic. Legit.
Cool, man. Well, look, bro, we've been talking I feel like we could talk for hours and hours
I
and
don't want to
hours,
check the time. I don't want to check the time how long we've talked.
But it's been awesome, man. I'm glad we got a chance to catch up, and I'm sure we'll catch up again more. But thanks for making the time. I apologize that I've messed you around a little bit with time or whatnot. Of course, like I said, I respect. I know how valuable time is. That's why I respect everyone else's time because it's the one asset that we can never get back, and people devalue it so much. So again, I apologize for messing around with some of the time, but I'm glad we had this conversation. It was great to get to know you better, like talking, and I feel like we've known each other forever, bro. So I appreciate it. Thanks for all the support and everything on the channel and watching everything. I always appreciate that, and keep doing what you're doing, brother. I feel like with the mindset that you got, especially being a young brother and whatnot, you got so much time to just learn from mistakes that you're gonna make and evolve and just get to an amazing place. So just keep doing what you're doing, but then let's just stay connected, man. I mean, there's always things that we can always communicate about. So let's just make sure we do that.
Yeah, Jazakallah, bro. Honestly, and again, you don't need to apologize at all. Honestly, I know the feeling. I've been in your position before, where like, crap, I have to cancel plans because of this, and this, because of life stuff. You don't have to. It's all right. I completely relate. But yeah, like Jazakallah again, really appreciate it. Again, I make dua and praise for you guys as well, you and your family, Kibla and his side of the family, because yeah, like again, like I really appreciate the fact that you guys talk about your trials and tribulations on camera. Not many people do that, but it's so humbling. Wallah, bro, honestly, it's very, very humbling because everyone has their own like trials, tribulations they go through in life, and no one really talks about it, which makes it worse because you feel alone, if you get me. But like this, it's really helpful on from my perspective, though. Just saying.
Well, thank you for saying that, man. Thank you for saying. I think what you say is I've had that feeling too, and I love listening to like successful people, be it UFC champions and all that sort of stuff. But I love to hear the shit they had to go through. That's the part I want to hear, because that's what we can all relate to, and we all go through. You know, we have this podcast, for example, but nobody knows the shit that you have to go through to make one of your videos. What you explained earlier, I know it sounds fun and everything, but I'm sure there's a lot of stress to it. Like, and something as simple as that, nobody sees that part of it. And I think that's what's like what life's about. Everyone wants to see the where you made it, but nobody wants to hear about how you got there. And I think that's the most important part, because I can inspire so many people. So thank you for saying that anyway. I appreciate you saying that, man. And hopefully, you know, it helps you and whatnot. And then in general, if you ever want to talk, you got me and Kibbs, man. Like always, communication is key, man, because it's always like a form of therapy as well. So, you know, we all go through our shit, man. Let's just make sure we communicate and just keep pushing forward.
100%. Yeah.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot, man. We'll catch up soon. Everyone watching, thank you again for tuning in, and like and subscribe and all that other good stuff. Check out Yusuf's details in the description. Subscribe to his channel, Instagram, YouTube, Y2K. Also, it's a term I always butcher it, but Y2K2 illustration.
YK2K illustrations.
Okay, there you go. It'll be in the description. Check it out, subscribe. And enjoy the content. Thanks, everyone. Peace.